Hey, this is Nessyp of Nessyp Entertainment and the Inner Sanctum Radio, and I got a special treat for you guys today. I really, really do. I am here with Mr. Omari Dillard. I am just so happy to see him. I haven't seen him for a while, and I am so happy to see him. Welcome to the Inner Sanctum.
Good evening. How are you?
I am just fine. So me and Omari was having this conversation, and I decided to stop him so that he can give you guys an idea of what he has been up to. So Omari, just let it all hang out and tell me what you've been doing.
Okay, I'm take it from where we left off when we really didn't get into anything. So we were discussing that we haven't seen each other in a while, and I want to say that the event that we did was it was. I can't remember exactly, but I know that I performed and you heard me and you pulled me to the side.
Yes.
And we're just talking about my latest project. So at the time I had an album and it's called On Everything I Love. And that was the first little project I put out aside from doing like a little Christmas album.
Mm-hmm.
And it got really good reviews and we were selling copies. As a matter of fact, I think we just sold some today. So it feels good to open up an email and see that someone has gone to your website, omaridillard.com, and they purchased that album. We just started working on a new album today, and I was just telling you that, you know, from everything that's going on with everybody that's being affected with COVID-19 and this crazy pandemic, and artists, excuse me, have been, you know, starving because our livelihood's been taken away from us, because performing for some people is a way of life. And I know that some artists have other jobs and things that they do.
Right.
But I have committed myself to music, and I think that I had to find a place and be encouraged by my circle for people to push me to that and say, hey, you know what, Omari, don't do anything else. If it doesn't involve music, then it's not for you, because that's something that I feel like I excel at, because that's what I've been told by, you know, my close friends and family members.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing. So let me catch you up. This is what happened to me. The last time that I spoke with you, I was indicted by the United States government. So I had so many things going on in my head that I don't know what I was saying, but I can remember when these things were, because these are the last memories that I have. I was incarcerated for 11 months in federal prison, and I came home on the 23rd of June of this year. So when I tell you that I could not be in a better place, even with a pandemic and the way that the world is right now, I could not be in a better place knowing that I'm at home, I'm with my family, I have my loved ones. And this quarantine is, for me, staying in the house with the people that I love. I'm loving it. Like, it is amazing. So right now, Strings Attached is the company that we have, and we've collaborated with the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. So one of the things that right now is I'm advocating people that have been incarcerated before to have their voting rights restored so that they can vote, because a lot of people don't know that they can vote, because they say, you know what? I got charged with this crime in the past. I did my time. I've come home, but now I'm no longer allowed to vote, which is one of my civil rights. So, and that shouldn't be. So what happened is in 2018, the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition passed Amendment 4 by advocating and knocking on doors and getting people to vote. And they put Amendment 4 on the ballot. It passed in 2018. And now, if you are a felon or labeled a felon in the state of Florida, you can vote. So one of the things that we have going on, aside from working with those guys, is just all of the things that I had on my schedule for early 2020 and late 2020 were postponed because of COVID. So it worked out in my. So I kind of came home and I'm picking up where I left off. I have all of these performances that are lined up that I'm able to complete that were postponed because of a pandemic. So I have to say that worked out in my favor, but I'm just here to tell you that, you know, your past transgressions do not determine what your future is going to look like.
That is true.
And no matter what people go through, what happens is we have this story that we're living called life. So I just have something that's been added to my story that kind of makes me a little bit more interesting, aside from being a Black violinist, which is already, you know, in its own rights unique. And now I say, you know what? But I've also overcome some adversity. So there's going to be different people that can relate to certain things about that. So another one of the things that I'm doing is just focusing on getting my story out. So I have to thank you for that, Nessyp. And I also have to say that I have to try to get a hold of the youth, because a lot of times our youth, particularly Black youth and children of color, may not have a lot of options or even know what their options are. And music with fine arts and violin and piano is one of them that they may not know about, because they may not have a system in place in their school where that can be encouraged or even taught. So that's what we're planning on doing, is continuing to go to different schools, especially Title I schools and schools that may not have a music program, and perform for the kids and teach them all about the violin, and also try to get their parents and other teachers involved and saying, hey, how can we bring music to this school?
Wow. Omari, you are such an inspiration, and in addition to that, you are extremely talented as far as I'm concerned. I've heard you play. And if you guys go to my YouTube channel at Nessyp Entertainment, I'm plugging myself right now, but and to watch his video, he is just a wealth of talent. So how do you, even with COVID-19, how do you plan on going into the schools? I mean, because some of the schools here are still, well, they're closing now because of the rise in our numbers. So how do you plan on doing that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, you know, I've had to adapt to a lot of changes as well because of COVID. So one of the things that we're going to do is, like I was telling you earlier, is I need to really get some really good audio equipment, and I have to get some good video equipment, and we're going to have to teach virtually. You know, that just seems to be the wave. I know that they have yoga classes virtually. I take a workout class right now that's virtually, that's done virtual through like a Zoom or something like that. So we're going to have to do the same thing with the children, at least until we get acclimated and they can learn all of the different parts of the violin and the strings, and we can start to read music, until we can get to that point where it can be hands-on, where I can correct posture and I can go over music with them in person. I really do believe that a formal training for the violin needs to be done in person, but we can at least start the process with something online. And I'm hoping that this, you know, that this pandemic is over soon and we try to get some sort of cure that's safe. You know what I mean? Because you can't have any rushed, and we can't jeopardize our health, or that it's already done. But I think that that's one of the things we can do. Maybe having some smaller classes, like one-on-one, or maybe an intimate setting where I have, you know, maybe 3 or 4 students at a time if I wanted to have a small group lesson. But as far as going to schools, I know that the Great American Teach-In is coming up in November, and I'm already working with 2 schools where I'm going to present online, and I'm going to play for the kids. And like I said, I'll probably have some sort of dry erase board where I can go over the different strings on the violin, and we can go over different classical periods. And then my favorite part is playing contemporary music, playing some R&B and some jazz and maybe some hip hop too.
Yeah, because that's what I've heard, and I've listened to. I was fortunate enough to get that last CD that you put out, and I listened to it because I love to hear you.
All right.
Out of all the instruments that you could have played, why the violin?
Wow, that's a good question. So you know what? My mother, I was raised one of 3. I'm the eldest of 3. And we were all raised by my mother. And she put me in piano lessons initially. So, you know, I had to play an instrument. I think that she was given the opportunity when she was a child to take up piano lessons. And the piano teacher told her that you can either sit down and play the piano, or you can go outside and play. So naturally, as a child, she was outside. So she never learned how to play the piano. I didn't have the same options. I got sat down in front of a school principal, because my mother was an educator for 35 years. So I sat down with the principal, and I'm in the principal's house trying to learn piano. So I was intimidated. I didn't take to it well. And I remember that someone came to the school, this violinist, her name was Mrs. Hart, and she came and she was playing like this she was fiddling, like she's playing hoedown music.
Okay.
And it's like boil 'em cabbage down and stuff like that. But I took a look to it. So what she said was, she said, anybody that wants to take fiddle lessons can get out of math class early, and you can go into the auditorium and learn, or you can stay in your class. You know, getting out of math, it's a no-brainer. I'm gonna go learn how to play this violin. So I'm taking these violin lessons with a few other students, and I'm still a young boy. I'm still 8. I think I was 8 years old because I broke my wrist skateboarding as a kid, and I couldn't play violin. I had to sit out. In fact, I had to stay at home. Well, when I came back after the 6 weeks or whatever the case was, I picked up right where I left off, and I was just as good as the other. So I think that it just went from there. And you know what's funny? I met Miss Hart as an elementary student, and she ended up being my private instructor all through high school. And so that's pretty cool. And then from there, I know that I was afforded the opportunity to, I auditioned for things like All County and All State Orchestra, and I was able to make it. And I even sat in with the Florida Orchestra for a little bit when I was in high school. Wow. So that's where it happened.
That is so awesome. Omari, I need to know if someone wanted to either take private lessons from you or work with you and with some of the organizations that you're working with right now, how do we get in touch with you?
Well, that's a good question. So the best thing to do is either go to my website, which is omaridillard.com, and you can reach me at info@omaridillard.com. You can also reach my director of music, Kenyatta Morrison, at thestringsattached@gmail.com, and strings is spelled with a Z. It's STRINGZ attached, stringsattached.com. And then there'll be tabs on the website, and we're going to be adding music education tab. Another thing that's happened because of COVID is the training that's required, or not really required, but the training that is suggested that you have under your belt before you're teaching these private lessons. And the type of method that I'm going to be offering students is called the Suzuki method, and they want you to do these things in person. So the virtual lessons, for me to be certified, has been pushed back until, I think it's January or February. So we're going to be offering classes hopefully sooner than that.
Okay.
But for that, receiving those certifications, which I feel like I'm qualified to teach, our youth.
I do.
But I be official, you know what I mean? So officially those classes are being held, I think sometime early 2020, January or February.
Okay. So before I let you go, you're working on a new project, right?
Just we're tying up some loose ends still. One of the shoes is untied and one of them is Velcroed. But we were discussing different producers that we want to work with, and I really want to see my name on a Billboard chart for smooth jazz. What do you think about that?
I think that would be amazing. That would be perfect for you. That would be so perfect, because just listening to some of the songs that you have on your CD, it's so versatile, and I think that's what really just makes it so cool, because you go from one genre to another genre, and that's what I love about listening to you.
Okay. Let me put you on this. If you could imagine me working, I have to listen to this. If you can imagine me working with someone, whether it's a vocalist or maybe another instrumentalist, who would it be? Who do you think that I should try to petition to get on my next album?
Okay, so if you wanted to do it locally, I would say BK Jackson.
Okay, it's a saxophonist.
Right, because I got a thing for his music, and to put you two guys together, I think that would be amazing. And just because, you're from here, he's from here. I know you're originally from Illinois, right?
Right. I was raised here. I was born in Illinois.
Okay. See, I was born in Illinois, so we got that connection here, though.
Okay.
But BK is I love his he's not only versatile, but he's just really smooth with it. And to put your smoothness and his smoothness together, it would just like floor everybody. So
Okay,
I think
so
that he would be really
might
good.
have to put that together.
You
have
are
to be the liaison.
You are
that
putting
together.
me on the spot, man. You know what? I have no issues at all just sending him your information and sending you his information. And if you guys get together and do a concert, I want front row tickets.
Oh man. Okay.
See, I'm putting you on the spot now. I want front row tickets.
Okay.
But I mean, just only because, and the reason I guess I say locally is because of the situation that we're in. I mean, we really can't get out and really do what we want to do to be able to move around and go out. So locally, I think that would be a really good fit.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for the future? Do you have anything lined up?
I am just going to keep trying to do what I'm doing. My goal is, and everybody just kind of chuckles at this. I said my goal was at the end of 2020, I was going to have my own TV spot. So because of COVID, I had to push that back. So my goal is by the end of 2021 is to have a local TV spot. That's my goal. And I'm going to keep working at that and keep relying on the man upstairs, and that's what I want to do. That's right. What I want to do, and I just feel like networking with people like yourself. I mean, if we're all in here to help each other and to bring each other up, we can all do it. So that's where I believe that. Yeah, that's where I am. So that's my goal. And what's yours? Since you put me on the spot, what's yours?
I have so many. I say my affirmations daily, and I say affirmations for things that have yet to come true, but things that I know are going to come true. Yes. And they're really simple. I say that, I am a successful musician. I'm a great husband. I'm a great father. I'm a multi-homeowner. I'm a man of purpose, power, and praise. And that's it. And I say that daily. And some of those things are true and the others are to come. So, and I'm planning on making some major moves in 2021 too. I think that 2020, well, amongst other reasons, I've had a setback, but I think that it's only to propel me forward. It's been like a slingshot. I stumbled, you know what I mean? I've been placed in that slingshot, and I'm going to be propelled forward for 2021. We have some exciting things coming up. I'm planning on having my first concert February 13th, because I'll already be in Orlando for a private engagement on the 14th. So on the 13th, I'm going to try to take advantage of Valentine's Day weekend. So look out for that. Look out for something like that. Maybe something intimate, maybe 50 couples or something we can put in a room, and we can social distance if we have to, or have some strings attached, or Omari on violin masks that can be passed out, and you can pull it down when you have to sip your champagne or something like that. So
that sounds so cool.
Right?
Yep. So so if that's the case, are you ready for New Year's Eve?
You know what? I don't think that I'm booked for New Year's Eve yet. I think, you know what? I think I'm going to be booked for New Year's Day. I believe that there's a wedding on the 1st of the year. So somebody is trying to bring in their 21, right? They can't wait any longer. They're going to get married on the 1st. But I don't think that I'm booked for the 31st of this year yet.
Okay. So we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that.
All right.
Omari, thank you so much for taking the time. It is so good to see you. You as well. I am definitely going to come in. I'm going to definitely ask you to come back and just to kind of keep us posted as to what you're up to, where you're going to be, and give me your website one more time just to make sure everybody got it.
OmariDillard.com. You can find me on Facebook at Omari Dillard, and on Instagram, Omari on Violin.
Okay. There you have it. Well, you guys, just follow this young man. I'm telling you, I look so forward to what he has planned and what he's going to do in the future. So this has been Nessyp of Nessyp Entertainment and the Inner Sanctum. See, I get so excited sometimes. Nessyp Entertainment and the Inner Sanctum Radio. Back to you in the studio.